Hello Facebook friends, it's Sanjana here. I'm just going to adjust my camera, thank you. How are you all doing tonight? Hasn't it been raining a lot? Certainly in North London it has. It's poured down. So today I'm here to talk about C for conversations in my video series The A to Z of Anxiety, and I wanted to just talk to you about the conversations that you have with yourself, not really the conversations you have with other people. So I read a quote today, and let me just read it to you. I've got it in my notes here. The root of all you experience is in your mind. And I thought this was really telling, because when you have anxiety, your world shrinks and you are particularly prone to thoughts that are often quite negative of yourself and can be quite critical of yourself. So you might say things like, I can't do X, I can't do Y, what's the point in trying, I'm never any good at this, all those kind of things. So you might find that if you have anxiety, that your conversation with yourself is very critical, and when you talk to other people, the conversation with them tends to be on the more negative side. And so by that I mean more this always goes wrong for me, I can never get it right, or good things never happen to me. It can also be things like I can't hold down a relationship, everybody leaves me, all those kind of things, much more negative ways of thinking and speaking with other people. So one of the things when you're trying to move from anxiety into a happier state of mind is to look at, how do you talk to yourself? So are you talking to yourself in a very critical way? Are you talking to yourself that in a way using words that empower yourself? Or are you talking to yourself in a way that disempowers yourself? Because words have power. Words have an energy of intention behind them. So if, for example, you say, I'll give you an example. In our household, we have been talking about doing quite a big conversion, and it's come about quite unexpectedly, and we're in the, oh my goodness, phase of it. And when we were discussing it, my husband said, oh my God, this conversion is going to kill me. And I got quite alarmed, because I'm aware that words have an energy of intention behind them. And so a day later, I kind of said to him, did you really mean that? Because I don't really want a dead husband. I would like my husband to live for many, many more years to come. And he said, no, I don't really mean that. And I was like, thank goodness for that. But I also had to say to him, you've got to be a bit careful with what you say, because you don't want to create a momentum with that energy of those words. So if you are being self-critical of yourself, you're harnessing that energy of self-criticism, and that's only going to make you feel worse than you already do. So you have to be really careful about how you describe yourself to others and how you describe yourself to yourself. So I'll give you another example. I have been in business for over 20 years. I started in the end of 1999 formally full-time, and in that time my business has grown and shrunk around what my family needs and what my son needed when I was younger. And I could be really critical of myself and go, oh my God, you've got to this point, you have so much experience and you don't really have a lot to show for it. You haven't got a massive Facebook group, you haven't got this, you haven't got that, you haven't got millions in the bank. And I could be quite critical of myself. And I probably a few years ago would have felt a bit ashamed or a bit guilty about the fact that I wasn't as successful as I thought I should be. But over the years, one of the things I've worked on is my mindset, and in working on that, what I now recognize is that actually when I describe myself to someone else and they say, what's your best quality? I say, I've got two. One is I'm tenacious and the other is I'm resilient. And they said, why'd you say that? And I said, because running my own business hasn't been easy. It's required quite a big change from me in how I think. It's meant that I've had to explain myself, to my family. I've had to hold my nerve when I didn't necessarily feel that way, and other people were saying to me, you should not carry on. But I've held my own, and the reason I've done it is because I really believe that I am tenacious and I am resilient, and I have the ability to go forward and the ability and the mindset to think in a more forward-thinking way rather than in a negative way. And another example, in our house, I'm going to talk about my family a lot. They may not like it, but oh well, is my 16-year-old who's doing his GCSEs, and he just said to me today in the car, and I love this, he said, Mum, in art, he's doing art GCSE, and I have to say he's phenomenal. He said, up until last term, we as a class, we didn't think we were that good at art. And then I looked at everyone's art books, and I just said to them, wow, we're actually really, really good. And we had this conversation amongst ourselves, and now we all really believe that we're really good at art. And that is the perfect example of how you can pivot what you think from something that's critical and negative into positive and forward thinking and more expansive. And as a result of that, you can change how you approach things and how the outcome will come to you. So things that influence you are what you watch, and what you consume. So news programs, politics. I mean, Brexit's a really good one for how it's created anxiety. I know in some of the Asian Facebook groups I'm in, Priti Patel's point system on whether you can come into the country has created quite a lot of anxiety. Things like soaps, EastEnders, Emmerdale, Coronation Street, they can all really affect your mindset. And the reason they affect it and can trigger your anxiety is because your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is not real. So when you're watching EastEnders and you're seeing for the umpteenth time someone getting raped, or someone's an alcoholic, or someone is being murdered, or whatever it is, your brain is thinking, oh my goodness, this is real. Oh my goodness, there is something to be really, really scared of here. And anxiety, remember, is the failure of your mind to recognize when you're truly in danger and when it thinks you're in danger. So just to recap, the anxiety trigger is your body's response to keeping you safe. So, for example, when we lived in the caves, it was safe from saber-toothed tigers and other animals that might want to eat you. We haven't evolved that much biologically for our brains to know that watching EastEnders or watching something on Newsnight is not real. It doesn't know the difference, and so it triggers the same anxiety response in you, which is the fight or flight response. So your adrenaline starts pumping, the cortisol starts pumping, and you're thinking, I need to get away from here. So that's what you need to be aware of. You need to think about, what am I consuming? And then you need to think about, if I don't want to be anxious, if I don't want to feel bad, how do I change this? And so you need to start consuming other things. So to give you an example, the way I start my day now, and I've been doing this probably for about 2 years consistently, and a bit before that but less consistently, I meditate every morning for about 15 minutes. And there's some really good apps out there, and the one I'm going to give a shout out to is the Free Mind app, developed by Tom Fortis Mayer. It's really fantastic, and he explains why you would have a response to something, and explains how the meditation can help you. So I think that's fantastic. I also watch or listen to something inspiring every day. So I'm on YouTube, I look for things that are 15 or 20 minutes long, and while I'm pottering around getting ready for the day, I listen to those. So TED Talks are one of my favorites. I will listen to people like Joe Dispenza, Anita Moorjani, some of Oprah's Soul Sessions. Wayne Dyer is another one who I listen to. I listen to business podcasts. There are loads and loads of things out there that can help get you thinking, and thinking in a different way, that kind of make you grow as well while you're listening. And that's the difference between having a negative and a positive mindset, is how you approach it. You have the power within yourself to decide, I no longer want to feed myself things that make me feel anxious. You have the power within yourself to say, I'm going to progressively change my mindset from one of being stressed, from feeling angry, from feeling anxious, from feeling guilty or shame, to one of joy and love and abundance. That power is so within your hands. And the first step is for you to decide that I want to change my mindset. And an exercise that you can do that I really like, is so simple. You take a piece of paper and you write down how you're feeling at the moment. So you might say, I'm feeling anxious, and underneath that you might say, I'm feeling really guilty and shame and a lot of sorrow and grief. And you really kind of feel into how you're feeling and all the emotions in it. And to go from feeling anxious to feeling joyful in one leap is too hard. You can't do that. But you could move a little bit further along. So you could say, okay, today I'm feeling really anxious, but today the sun came out. That feels a bit better than I felt anxious. You could then say, and today I slept really well. That also feels good. Today work is stressing me out. That's not such a good statement, because it leans you back towards feeling anxious. So you want to start making statements that take you a little bit, they kind of pivot you away from the anxiety state and more towards a more neutral state. And it's something you do daily. It shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes, but it can really, really help you to change how you're feeling. So the final thing I just want to say to you is that you are unique. Your unique energy is needed in the most perfect way, and you came here to be the most perfect, abundant, joyful, loving, happy version of yourself. You didn't come here to be stressed and angry and anxious and feel guilt and shame and all these other emotions. And so I would go back to reminding yourself that you deserve those things, and that you can choose to start taking control. It's not a quick fix, what I'm suggesting. It is a progressive fix, but you can do it. And if you wish to, I'm really happy to help you with this. And to that end, I've just launched a brand new group, and it's just me at the moment in it, so I would love you to come and join me in it. It's called Goodbye to Anxiety, Hello Happiness. I will post the link to the group. You just click on it to join, and there'll be some questions, and then you can come on it. I will be doing these videos. I'll be migrating them into that group as well, and it's a private group, but it's going to be filled with helpful hints. I'm going to be launching some weekly meditations in there that will help you to kind of rediscover your calm inner self, and hopefully answer some questions that will help you. And this is something that I'm really passionate about. I really, really want you to understand that being joyful, loving, abundant, happy is your birthright, and you don't have to be anxious, and you don't have to be sad, and that you can definitely move out of it. So that's all for today. Oh, before I go, the one thing I forgot to say, actually, I just looked at my notes quickly, was who you talk to is really important. Do you have a set of cheerleaders, people who can help big you up, right, when you're not feeling great? About 2.5 years ago, I went on a business accelerator, and one of the best things I got out of it were 3 friends, Lindsay, Victoria and Deborah, who are great at picking me up when I'm down. I've got other cheerleaders like my husband, my sister, my mum, another friend of mine, Pranita. They all, and my friend Ali, they all in their own ways help pick me up, and they're my cheerleaders. They're the people who say to me, you can do this, you've got this, We have faith in you. Even when I don't have faith in myself, they have faith in me, and that often is enough just to pick you up. So when you're thinking about changing your mindset, in summary, think about, what are you consuming? What are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding it good stuff, or are you feeding it stuff that's scaring it and making it feel anxious? Who are your cheerleaders? And think about doing the exercise I talked about earlier in this talk. I hope this has helped. My name's Sanjana Clark. I'm the founder and owner of Feel Good Treatments. I help teenagers and adults with anxiety say goodbye to anxiety and hello to happiness. And I'd love to see you in my group. Wishing you all a lovely Thursday night, and I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.